Welcome to the Living Consciously TV show. We're coming to you live from our Denver, Colorado studios. I'm your host and moderator, Coach Steve Toth, and our theme today is How the Media Conditions Humanity, Part 2. And let me introduce you to our guest cast as well as our self-growth cast members. And our guest cast today is Dr. Grant Crewley, Sensei and Wellness Specialist, and he's joining us from Georgia. Welcome to the show, Sensei.
Thank you very much.
You look fantastic.
Yeah.
I usually only say that to women, but you definitely deserve it today.
Uh-oh.
All right, and we also have Janet Cook, who is right here with me in the studio. She's a self-growth and health cast member as well, and she's from Aurora, Colorado. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Janet.
Oh.
Thank you for being here. And we also have Jamie Lerner, and she is our self-growth and relationship cast member coming right out of Chicago. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
We love that city, Chicago. It's an exciting city. All right, and last but not least, Nina Andiver de Rosa. She is a self-growth and health cast member as well, and she's coming to us from the beautiful city of Las Vegas.
Oh, Las Vegas. Oh, it is hot and beautiful here today.
Welcome to the show, and we have snow, and you probably have sunshine.
Oh, it's 75 and beautiful.
Fantastic. All right, so here's how our show is going to go today. Our first segment, we will have a dialogue about what are the issues and problems with being conditioned by the media. And in the second segment, we'll have a dialogue about what are some of the tools and some of the modalities that any of our cast members or our guest cast member have used either for themselves or for their clients to have a solution or overcome the fact that the media is attempting to control our minds. So let's begin with the leading question, going right to our guest cast, Dr. Grant Crewley, Sensei. Are we creating meaningful value for all humanity by watching what's on television today? That's an answer all by itself.
The answer, yeah, that's a great leading question. The answer is an emphatic no.
And
period,
why?
Period.
And why?
Why?
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on one second. I want to increase. For some reason, I'm not hearing you very much all of a sudden.
Okay, well,
So
we
there
can hear
you
you
go.
fine.
So why isn't it any good? There's two primary blanket reasons. One is the way the human brain functions, so that it's very easy to program the human brain and to move or condition the entire populace or even several countries at the same time along different lines of thought and so forth. And then the other thing is because everyone watches 4 to 6 hours of TV a day, and then the machine puts your brain in an alpha state, so it's programmable. And with the mechanism known so well as an exact science, whomever runs or makes the decisions simply manipulates the populace at will. And people don't know that. They don't have a clue. They think television is for their entertainment. It isn't. It never was.
So obviously media has tremendous power, right? We can all agree, because millions of people tune in to lots of different subjects and lots of different channels every day. So media is very powerful. Now, are you saying that if it's in the wrong hands, then it could be used for something other than having it to be meaningful for the population?
I love you, Steve.
And what is that something else?
Well, whatever they want, making people docile, keeping people very busy, worried about, the bird flu or gerbil flu or flu from a cricket or whatever other nonsense they want to create. That's all nonsense. and you scare people and keep them real busy. You make them scared to death about time, agendas, the finances, the national debt, what the idiots in the White House are doing, whatever it is. You just make like a nonstop game, like a hamster in a cage, and people just work like a dog until they reach their grave. And they
Don't people have the choice of watching television or not watching television? You don't have to sit there and watch it. And I've only actually recently understood that if you watch one station, that's Democratic, and you watch the other station, that's Republican. So that I've only recently just found that out. Ignorant. Okay, fine. I was better off not knowing. But you do definitely have that choice to have a television on or off.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I couldn't agree with you. And then when we talk about solutions, my number one solution is don't watch it, don't read it. But the point being, ma'am, that the vast majority of the entire populace, anywhere where there are TVs or where there is a computer, if they have that technology available, I don't know what it would be, 99% of the entire population, that they're glued to it.
I would like to interject something, because I do agree that television, some of the programming perpetuates fear. But the concern
Jamie, could you see your hands for a second?
Sure.
Okay.
The concern
I just want to make sure that you have
the way
them.
this conversation is going is that it really implies that we are all victims to something bigger than ourselves. And I think that's absolutely not the case. I think that there are so many different channels that somebody can turn to and tune into. And I think that it is based vibrationally on what is resonating with us in the moment. But I don't think that we are controlled by the media. I think we have our choice to tune into media, and through that, we make other kinds of choices. But I think the way that this conversation could be going or shifting, even though we can talk about how the media does have an opportunity to instill fear, we need to keep choice.
Yes.
And
Jamie.
the people
But there's so many choices out there now anyway. There's so many channels.
I'm not
I
so
must
sure.
apologize. Like, one of the things with me is I make large, broad, sweeping statements. Okay, so let me give you a couple of other things. The fear factor in that choice is one.
I have to interrupt, because when you make broad, sweeping statements, that is exactly what the media does.
Yeah, people are listening to you.
Well, the difference is, though, honey, I'm not trying to control anybody. I'm just giving you facts on how your body works.
But the way that the facts are presented is you come from a particular point of view, and how people present their facts is how it will be received. So when you make blanket statements, emphatic blanket statements, and you are a doctor, so you have credentials, so you could be very convincing, and you look very professional, and you're very strong about how you feel. So in essence, you are doing the very thing that you are criticizing in the media.
Well, I understand your point, but I got to disagree with you. And what you have to understand is, that one aspect, like a fear aspect, is just one tiny piece of the pie, but it's all conditioning. And then because of the function of the subconscious mind and how it works, it is a matrix that extends backward through time, through generations. And it goes to all of the beliefs and like the entire fundamentals of science, the fundamentals of physics, the fundamentals of, it's all built on conformity to social norms and so forth. And if I have your permission and Steve's permission, I would like to demonstrate for you something, and for all of the viewers right now live, to give you an idea of just how the mind, human mind, identifies with anything. And when it identifies, it's able to be moved emotionally. when it's moved emotionally, the thalamus and the amygdala and the brain map that, and then it produces a chemical signature with what we call neuropeptides in your physiology to record and replicate that emotion and that belief, and it's all self-reinforcing.
Before you do that, Sensei, I'd like to get something
Yeah.
in. I'd like to get something inserted here
Okay.
from the studio, and
Okay.
what I'd like to insert is what Jamie is talking about, and I think I just want to make sure that there's clarity between all of us.
Yeah.
What we're talking about here. So in terms of choice, I believe that the people that have choice are the ones that actually understand and have had an experience where they can basically identify themselves other than just their bodies and their mind and their spirit. So
No,
so,
I don't think that's what I'm saying. I
okay,
think
but
everyone has
hang
a
on, but
controller.
that's what I'm saying. So the people
Oh, okay.
the people that can actually make a choice are the ones that can actually stand beside themselves and experience themselves that they are not their body, that there is more to us than just our body,
Or their ideas.
and there are those people that, and how I know this, and I said this on the show many times, I used to be one of them, when I didn't realize that, and I wasn't awake and I wasn't conscious, I didn't know that there was anything wrong. I didn't know that there was anything off. I didn't know that there were choices to be made. All I knew...
That is a judgment, though. That is a judgment because you are somehow implying that there was something wrong with you or wrong with people until they become awake and conscious. There's nothing wrong with people that are not awake and conscious. They're just not awake and conscious. And when you have a controller...
I didn't say that there was anything wrong with them.
You just
Okay.
said you were unconscious.
You're assuming
When you have
that
a
means there is
controller
something
and can
wrong.
pick 100 or 900 channels, you pick what resonates with you.
Absolutely.
So you have choices, and vibrationally, we are attracted to that which we can identify with. Now you have all those choices to pick from, and people constantly are channel surfing. And it's interesting because people sometimes channel surf the entire time and don't even settle on one thing because it's nothing is resonating with them. Okay.
Jamie,
Okay,
I
well
adore
then
you,
explain
but
to me. Okay, then hang on a second.
no, I-
Jamie,
We're all
explain
talking
to
at one
me. Explain to me that every evening that when I tune into the news or that I tune into any of the major broadcasts, and these are all cop shows, the most of the major channels, and I'm talking about ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox. What's on those channels is violence. Period.
That's
Well,
okay.
then turn it
There is
off
no
the
other
phone.
choice. The
Turn
only
the
choice you
phone
have
off,
is
screen
watch
it off.
violence.
I watch PBS and I watch news that is delivered to me in a monotone, without drama, that gives you information. I listen to NPR, National Public Radio. That is information that is delivered to me without drama. That's a choice. Those are public broadcasting stations available to the public, not even paid TV.
Oh, okay, may I offer you something, honey? This kind of conversation. I mean,
Say-
Jamie.
Thank you.
This kind of conversation. It's I understand where you're coming from, but you miss. If you don't, you're missing the fundamental mechanism of how it all works. And it has to do with the way the mind works. And then all you have to understand is this is a game. Like even when you think you're making choices, now you may be quite conscious and you make a lot of really great choices. But most people, when they think they're making choices, it isn't a choice at all. Did you know that even when they drive down a road and they've driven down the road once before, that as they drive, when they look to the right and the left, you will find that they will look to the right and the left in exactly the same place at exactly the same time, the entire length of the destination, till the destination, because it's the way the nervous system and the mind works. It's the conscious brain that you think, both of my respected guests here, Ninan and Jamie, when people think
What
they're
are we?
conscious.
No, are you
What are we?
Hold it.
What are we,
Are
liver?
we a bunch of robots?
Chop liver.
No, ma'am,
Chop
actually, ma'am,
liver.
if you just listen to me for 1 second, let me give you some data. This is irrefutable data. The conscious brain, the frontal lobe of your brain, is only active 5% of the day. 97% of the day, the subconscious mind is always active. The subconscious mind is 1 million times a more powerful processor of information than the conscious brain. Conscious brain processes about 4,000 bits of information a second. The subconscious processes over 400 billion bits of information. So what happens is, in a way, it's almost like robots, unless you try to develop yourself like Steve has or others
listen,
to break that.
The thing that I was most interested in, and we never got to this last time you were on the show, is the 7 principles that you came up with that you wrote about in the book. Because the way you're delivering the information, you're delivering it now, assuming that we all are what you're saying that we are, unconscious and only can be programmed.
You can't only be that. That's words I never said. That.
Okay.
I'm saying people
The
are
majority
being.
of the time we're
Okay,
programmed.
that we're being
Majority of the time.
programmed. I do think that you do have some valuable things to share with us that you have written about that we can relate to in the terms of the principles, instead of some of the other information that is supporting the principles that you write about.
Yeah, and that's real sweet of you. But I think the subject matter of this show is the media, and my book hasn't anything to do with the media.
Well,
it's just a way for you to help break into the conditioning. But what I wanted to show, what I think, Steve, but correct me if I'm wrong, we're trying to get at how people are being socially conditioned for roles. And it's a brilliant science, simply using the mechanism I'm describing. Now, Ninan is
Sensei,
right.
hang on for a second. I think so this is interesting how this show is being generated. It is what it is, so I'm not going to resist it. But here's the thing. So I think what the intention of the show today is that to raise awareness with the public that maybe a lot of us are not as much in control of what's happening and what we're doing every day as we think we are.
how about as we could be?
Or
Forget
as
about
we,
as we think we
or
are. How
as
about
we,
as we
or
could
as
be?
we could be.
don't wanna
And I'm very open to Sensei presenting in the next half hour those 7 areas, because I think
Yes,
those
that
are
would be
the
wonderful.
solutions. Those are part of the solutions.
Yes,
and that's what
they-
the next segment is all about. But let Sensei go ahead and do what you were going to do in terms of some kind of a.
Exercise or something?
Yeah, you asked me
Yeah.
for some kind of a
Okay.
some kind of a permission, and I don't know what I'm giving permission to. So just go for it and do it, and let.
Okay.
Let's
so
go for it.
Here's the trick. When it comes to say not necessarily news, which is like straight informational, but let's say a movie. Movies or shows present emotional
Storyline.
sequences, okay, and people identify through role identification, like male female role, and they identify with it, and then they are once it's identified, the programming has begun, and it's being because of the nature of the TV. Even when you watch PBS, your brain goes into a alpha state. So it will accept the facts even on PBS or whatever is given to you. Whatever conclusions.
Let me just interrupt
You
one
just-
second. Can I just interrupt?
Yeah.
Why did you say because it's PBS, like you're putting PBS down?
Oh no,
he's
you
saying-
know what? I'm just using her example.
Yeah, Because I
Yeah.
said something that is,
I know, but PBS.
I don't know PBS, or I wouldn't know PBS from CB. You know, I don't watch any of them. But
Okay, it just happens to be, no, it just happens that PBS is absolutely 100% in the news right now. 100%. So whatever you're saying about PBS, everyone's going to pick it up because
good.
one of
I
the
hope they're
candidates,
doing something good.
one of
broadcasting.
the candidates wants to get PBS off the air completely. We should not even have any money on it or have it even on television. So this is why I'm bringing that up, because it's a
Oh.
very sensitive question right now.
Oh, well, I don't know what it is, but I hope if it's good, I hope it lasts, and if it's bad, I hope it goes. But let me show you. Let me show you this.
He does.
It's one of the most conscious options available for people publicly for television.
Oh,
And
well,
if,
then I want everybody to watch it. Everybody, if it's
It's like
conscious. And
Sesame Street. They want to get rid of Sesame Street.
oh, do they?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So now this is a little serious. So all I want you to do is really pay attention to this, okay? And anyone in the audience, really try to get into this so that you have a real experience. So you see that cup? I want you to look at the cup. I'm trying to put it in the center of the camera. Look at the cup and just start to stare at it and become interested in it. Look at the way the light moves off of it. Try to imagine the weight of the cup. See, it's empty like that. The color, the way it's in my hand, bottom. See anything you see. If you see a marking, everything about the cup, just focus all your attention on that cup. Its lines, dimensions. Try to imagine what it feels like. Its temperature. Okay, just stay right with it. Just stay with it. Don't talk, just focus. Now I want you to start to merge yourself into that cup as if you're the cup being in my hand. Imagine what it would be to be a very thin, empty plastic cup. You're only that big, this size, that color. Now somebody or a few of you may have had some kind of a feeling or some type of emotional reaction or some kind of a contraction in your body. I don't think my guest did because I'm talking to pretty conscious people.
No, I had no feeling at all.
Which is
Got rid of it.
which is really good, ma'am. But what you'll find when I do that in meditation classes, it's not uncommon to hear people scream. Some people go, and people contract. Some people almost fall down, and it's because the mind and the way the brain works, it can identify with anything at all. So when you see like an emotional kind of program, or if you see something,
we can only identify if it resonates with us.
And what resonated with me was they made a country western song about that cup. Only it was red, my red solo cup. So that was what I was watching him. I kept thinking about that country
So
western
everyone
song.
has their own identification with that.
okay. And now, Jamie, let me address that because I know that's when I met you before. That's your primary. That's very strong for you. It's absolutely true and it's absolutely valid. Things resonate with you, and no one can ever dispute that. Every human being is the same. We all have things, and we choose what resonates with us. We're attracted, so forth. What I want you to understand is the giant system that designs everything understands that item A or subject A resonates with these people or this segment of people, and that's why there are 12 different flavors of ice cream because everyone doesn't just want vanilla. And then the manipulation or the programming or the subtlety comes in through the things that you resonate with.
How come that just can't be preference? How come we just can't have experiences in our
it
life
can't.
that give us contrast, and then we identify preference, and based on having this plethora of opportunity to make all these choices, we gravitate to what feels good to us?
Oh, you can.
Always.
Steve, and nobody, Eckhart Tolle, Buddha, nobody will ever say that you can't. All we're saying is for the popular, the most of the populace, they're not like someone like yourself, people that have done meditation or have done a lot of inner work. They don't know that. So they just are being moved. And what these shows and what my work is about is just to help them maybe start to think. And if they shut the TV off, even as an experiment for a month, and they don't read a newspaper, and they start to look in through their life for things that resonate with them, but they take the experience without the filter.
But your work is so disempowering. It's
Oh, no,
yes, it is disempowering, when in fact, what we should be helping people understand is how much power and control they actually do have over
Only
the
if they-
choices they can make.
Only, ma'am, the only way, Jamie, and anybody in the audience, the only way, and all of the greatest minds on the earth agree with me, the only way they will be able to do what you're saying is if they personally select and program their subconscious mind so that during the 95% of your day when your conscious brain is asleep, and it will be asleep, I don't care if you're Buddha, then the programs in your subconscious are of your own choice. And that's how I empower people. I can show you, or anybody,
Let's
in
talk
minutes.
more about that. I really would like us to talk more about the way that you empower people to identify.
Yeah, great. We can do that, but I'm not going to pretend that I didn't have a reaction. I actually had a reaction.
Okay, I'm
at
sorry.
At the
I'm
end,
very
when
sorry.
you took the cup and you
sorry.
did what you did with it, I had a reaction. My whole body reacted to it.
So
Good.
now you're all crumpled up and you're nothing.
You mean like when he crunched it?
When he crunched it, my whole body reacted to it.
And where
What
in
happened
your body?
to go? Where is
My
it?
entire body. It's like the feeling that I had was this energy just went through my entire body.
And was it a tension or was it just?
It was tension.
The
Yes,
whole-
it
the
was
whole-
tension, and
okay.
it was somewhat fear.
It was some fear. Okay,
Yeah.
so that was some of the emotion that popped
Yeah,
up when
yeah,
he went
yeah,
crunch.
that's
How
what
about
happened.
a feeling of maybe getting hurt? Because that was.
No, I didn't feel like I was going to get hurt. I just
Okay.
felt like, oh wow.
Oh, wow.
It's like, maybe there's something else coming I need to protect myself from.
Maybe. You know what I wanted to get back to? We were talking about people watching television, and you were talking about how these people get in sort of, they just watch it and they see it and they get influenced by it. What about the thousands of countries out there that do not have television? What happens with those people that don't have the choice of television? Where are their minds? What are they doing? America has television.
If they don't have modern media, then the government, of course, will probably try to influence them in some way that I don't know. I've never been to one of those countries like that. But I was in Africa once. I didn't see TVs there. But I saw a lot
There
of
is propaganda. Of course, there's propaganda.
But basically speaking,
But
if they don't have modern...
Do these people have a better life and more normal because they don't watch the television and all this stuff is not put into them? So what sort of life do they have? They feel that they...
All that happens, ma'am, is whatever the belief systems... whatever the belief systems are that have been passed on generation to generation, the belief system is absorbed by the brain between the ages of 3 months of gestation to the age of 7. And it's recorded verbatim. So then it's just passed on down. It goes backward. That's why it takes a new scientific fact, like the stuff I'm trying to tell you guys about, over 25 years just to be accepted by the average populace. The average populace, even amongst doctors, are still looking at Newtonian rubbish. That's why they're the highest cause of death in the world. And that's why I had my good friend Dr. Bob Rakowski, my mentor last week. I think last week was on, and can talk about this in great detail. But that's what happens because they're still using data that's been disproved for over 75 years. It's all trash. But the subconscious mind, it's just like talking to an automaton. If you don't believe me, call up Dr. William Tiller, who's proved the entire just unbelievable metaphysics science, and ask him what he calls it, what's he call it, the glaze effect? When he
I
tries
just
to
don't
present
understand how your material is any different than turning on one of the television channels. It's absolutely no different. Every single channel that you watch, they can give you data, they can give you facts. It is supported by this, it is supported by that. You just have a different idea about whatever.
I
you
see
have
Okay,
what
so
idea
you're
about.
saying.
Jamie, I believe right now you're
Oh.
just bumping up against whatever it is that he's presenting.
Okay.
And yes, it is
Yes,
negative,
I am.
and that's
Yes,
what you're
I
bumping
am.
up against. And so I would
I am.
I would
I'm bumping
request
up against it because
yeah.
it feels to me like everything I do not watch on television.
Well, yeah,
It is
so-
the same delivery
so we
of
need to-
fearful,
so-
factual
Oh, no, no.
information.
So we need
oh,
to
no,
show-
Oh, no,
we-
because
we
you're
need to show-
disseminating it?
No, I'm not. No,
We need
not
to show
just
the
me,
contrast.
All of the greatest minds in the world. But, honey, I
Okay,
mean,
all
Jenny,
this
if you
mind-
don't understand the problem, you cannot fix it. That's what happens in the military. You
not-
can't respond if you don't know what it is. And I don't think you know what it is.
and you can't
I
fix
think
it
you're
with the same
fooling
mind that you
yourself.
created it, can you?
You know what I'm hearing through all this? I'm hearing that we've got a lot of, a majority of people out there, which I don't think they're going to like, that they're idiots, they're stupid. There's a
No,
lot
they're
of
not
things out there.
stupid,
Well, no, but this is what you're
but they're
projecting. Like
programmed.
you've said three different times that they're ignorant and they're this and they're that. And I don't know if our audience would like to hear that. I mean, I'm
Well,
sure they
first
all
of
think they're
I
great.
don't care. If you're worried, like Bob
I'm not
Rakowski
worried at all,
says,
no.
if you're afraid as a doctor to hurt a patient, you can't fix them. And first of all, I'm not telling anybody in the audience or anywhere that they're ignorant, but they do not understand the mechanism, and the mechanism is designed so they never understand it.
Okay, is
Secondly,
it possible that you could tell us the ways that you suggest people tapping
Sure.
into these issues? Let's just move on to that. Because I believe that you can more clearly demonstrate what you're trying to get across through the solution.
Sure. Is that okay with you, Steve?
Steve,
Hello,
are you
Steve?
there?
Yes, I'm here, and that would be true, Jamie. And I understand that people that are conscious and awake would have an issue, and that they resist when we are trying to show the contrast, because people that are positive and people that are living their lives from a place of empowerment, they may receive this information, what we're presenting in the first half of the show, as, hey, wait a minute, this is the stuff that I worked on most of my life to overcome, and I finally got here, and I don't want to hear this rubbish.
Okay, well,
I
I have
understand.
to tell you, I did not work on any of this stuff all my life to get to this place, and I don't think any of it's rubbish. But what I do think is that you don't need to present the problem for people to begin to understand there's another way to do anything.
Well, I believe you do.
Well,
I believe
I
you do,
don't-
because
I
if you
don't-
don't
I
know
don't
what the
agree.
problem is, you don't know how to fix it. Matter of fact, even Einstein said that you can't fix a problem with the same mind that created it.
That's true.
Okay.
You get the
And
same results.
Here's the thing, Jamie.
So we can go
Here's
off to
the
La La
big deal.
Land, but let's just get back to Earth. Let's get back to reality.
Let's get back to
Let's
media and what
get
we're
back
supposed
to Sensei.
talking
Why
about.
don't you start presenting those 7 areas as the potential solutions that you have worked with your clients, you know, how to transform the possibility of the media controlling our minds and controlling what we're doing. And I don't want to, again, come from, okay, so, you know, I have this experience of living in a communist country, and I do, and you want to talk about control and propaganda and how they control people? I can talk about that for several shows. But we're not going to do that. So we're going to go right into, because this stuff is real, it does exist, okay? Positivity is not the only thing that exists on this planet. I have to tell you that. So let's move into let's move into the 7 areas, and let's see where we heading towards the end of the show, where we are actually delivering value to our viewers.
Yes, good idea.
Okay, so I actually wrote the book originally for more for like daily life and the workplace, like for corporate settings, and the design is fundamentally to be able to break the stress cycle, and the stress cycle is what I show in the book is how it's an agenda, and it's all future-based. And because it's future-based, they miss the present moment because they're always trying to get to the next thing that they have to do.
Living in the future.
And then what happens is you miss your life entirely. And it's just, and so that's what the original book was. I didn't write it specific regarding the media. But you can apply it, the principles are the same. Now, the principles come from over 1,000 years of behavioral science from samurai culture, the old culture of Japan. Because I'm a warrior class martial artist, I've been training 40 years this Christmas. And then what I do is I substantiate what I say with the new science and the latest data from my understanding as a doctor and studying quantum physics and things like that. So the fundamental basis is this. You look at 7 specific activities or behaviors that all human beings are involved with: standing, sitting, and walking. Like for instance, we're all sitting down right now, so we're doing one of those behaviors. And then there's speaking and listening, and eating and drinking. I did not go into sleeping, but these were considered the dignities of man in Zen culture and in samurai culture, and they did a great deal of training in them in order to be fully conscious. And each of those 7 is becomes a kind of a active meditation through the body. So that instead of the problem with the media, especially with the media aspect, is that it's all in the head driven, and it's all like memes, M-E-M-E. It's just meme complexes. It's like a little idea. It has no reality whatsoever. It's nothing like that. Consciousness is real, and then consciousness can watch, create, disintegrate memes. It's just, those are just stories. And then the human drama occurs because we identify with the story. So we can say Ninan is a big celebrity, and then she's all of a sudden she identifies with the word celebrity and money and so forth, and then that starts a whole thing, and the world goes in that. They call me a sensei, so I identify with a sensei, and then all of a sudden, you know, some people think that I'm like some of the idiots on television. I can jump through the air and do triple flips and cut watermelons out of the air, and but all it is just a bunch of illusions. And the way you know that is if you ever watch someone die. All of the fake names and all of the ideas and all of the nonsense, it all goes. The only thing that remains is what you actually are, what we all are, is a focal point of consciousness. So consciousness is the ground of being, and then everything, and it's behind the beautiful facade and the game while we're here in a 3-dimension. So what you do is, let's say while you're sitting, what I instruct for people is I get them to be aware of their body in the chair and how they're sitting in the chair. You know, if I sit like that, hi girls,
You're
what
going
do
to
you
feel
do?
like that.
You know. But if I sit up,
You're right.
I not only change the surround because it's a reflective universe, but I also activate all the energy centers of my body. I open up my heart. I've opened up my lungs. There's a million different things, and I get them to feel their body in the chair, and then I instruct them to imbue the feeling of their body with a sense of dignity. Okay? So if you're a lady, be really proud of the fact that you're a woman. It's a wonderful thing. If you're a man, be very proud of the fact that you're a man. Don't be ashamed if you're a lady with and you have a good bus line. Don't be shy. You'll see girls, they're shy. Come up. If you're a man, bring your shoulder, or men and women, bring your shoulders back. Lift your head up, because we know that when the head is up and erect, the brain and the mind are able to flow with current events. If the head tilts down, we now know that it allows the brain to freeze frame time in order to dwell on problems. That's why you see people, if they're thinking or they're stressed, many times their head will come down. It's because they naturally want to be able to dwell on the problem. When you put the neck in extension up, it's almost impossible to hold a negative thought in your mind. You can think of one, but it'll quickly go.
So could I ask you a question? I don't
Yes.
interrupt. So is it possible then that if people were to understand this principle as a way to kind of check in with consciousness, that they could sit in front of the television and they could assume this kind of posture that you're referring to and consciously make this adjustment to their body before they turn on the television? Do you think that they then would be in a better position to more consciously choose what they were going to watch?
That's an excellent way to ask that. The first part to the answer, I'll put that in two parts. The first part of the answer is yes, it's better. But
Okay.
here's what I would like you and the viewers to understand. Consciousness and the ability to actually be able, and I'll share with you one of my own personal weaknesses, okay? Because my weakness is I'm a very emotional man. I should have been an Italian. So feature that
To one, stay where you are.
consciousness works in levels, okay? So in a number of instances, in my case, I am a fairly conscious person, but there are other areas where I'm extremely unconscious. So one of the movies where I go completely unconscious is the newest version of the movie King Kong. I'm an animal lover, and for whatever reason, I identify with the whole emotion of Kong, the fact that he's tricked, that they kill him, and I cannot, with all my training, and it's going to be one of my tests, when I can actually sit and watch that movie and be detached from the movie, I will have graduated to a whole new level of conscious awareness. So what happens is, to actually be able to watch, especially any kind of emotional material, like a movie, a love story, war movies, or something that really has a lot of drama or emotional content, it takes quite a high degree to be able to watch it, enjoy it, but be detached and not identified with it.
So is this the reason why a lot of the movies we have out there with the killings and the violence and what's going on, that is interjecting to an awful lot of people out there that are watching this because they can't control themselves, so they think they can go out there and do this, so this is a danger to some people, which we've seen actually many times over the media of what people have done by going out and pretending they're this person, like we just had the shooting in Denver.
You know, I'll share another story. When I'm 55 now. When I was, I think, about 19 years old, I grew up watching Western movies, right? And I always identified with the toughest cowboy. And you know, in those old movies, they always see in a bar fight, the guy will pick up a chair and he breaks the chair over the guy, right? Well, anyhow, I was 19. We'd started drinking, and me and my buddies, we got in. There was a bar fight, and it was a big mess. You know, it's all chaos. And I saw this guy in front of me, and no kidding, I picked the chair. Like in the movies, because that's what all I'd ever seen all my life.
Absolutely.
And the moment I picked the chair up, I thought to myself, luckily, I thought to myself, I can't hit the guy with the chair. I'll kill him. But you know, in the movies, you see the chair break, right?
Well, it's already broken, yes.
Yes, wooden chairs don't break. The guy breaks. So what I was experiencing there, and luckily, even at the age of 19, I caught myself, was all I had accepted that as actual behavior and fact, that's what men do, and that's the way to win. And then given that environmental stimulus, I just automatically saw the chair, saw him. He was bent over. I picked this chair up, and luckily I caught myself.
But let me just say something. We're missing something very important. It's not luckily you caught yourself. It's not luckily you caught yourself. You were able to consciously tap into who you really are, and at that moment, make a better decision. And there is so much power in that moment that you are just blowing off and somehow saying, luckily, when in fact, this is the teachable moment. That given the opportunity, people will tap into themselves and realize, well, see, that's where we differ.
Only sometimes.
This is where we differ.
Yeah, but here's what you don't understand. You're making inferences without understanding my background. I had been in formal training, in conscious training from the age of 13. I've never, except for Western movies, I was never, ever influenced by radio, by any kind of shows, and by any kind of newspaper ever in my life. And I had already done a few thousand hours of intense training. So what you don't understand is, when you look at me, whether you like it or not, you're not looking at the average guy. My life doesn't represent American society at all.
You know, it's so funny. It's so funny you mentioned the radio. You weren't allowed to watch radio or anything. And this
No, I'm allowed. I never did.
You just didn't. Okay. But that takes me back to my childhood, how things are really put into you and how you develop them. And my mum and dad would always want to listen to the races. We have races every day, horse races in England, and they would have these mythical bets, and we'd all have this. To this day, I love listening to the races, and anytime I see a race, I want to see it, and that relates all the way back. I mean, you just brought it up because I never thought about it before, but bringing that up, I said, wait a second, that's where I get my race stuff from, because I still have the excitement. And I still don't gamble that much. I mean, I really don't gamble on the.
And now you live in Las Vegas.
And it's funny because when I'm in
That's not a coincidence, is it?
Yeah, when I go into a casino and I see the racetrack board and everything up there, I immediately stop and look at it. It doesn't mean to say I want to make a bet, but I love to see it. And that's funny because that's the mind of, as a child, you said you chose not to listen to the radio. Mine happened to be there and I was in the room, but how it embedded into my mind, which is still there. But that's an excitement. Fortunately, I didn't take it anywhere else as gambling, but.
It's the exact same mechanism, and it works. It's a real nice one for you.
Yeah.
And then and of course you can have the negative ones when you see someone that's emotionally disturbed or something. When they have like
these shootings, the Denver shooting was that's an example for you.
Yeah. Well, the Denver, I have. Well, in any case, I have my own theory about the Denver shooting, but the good point in your example is when you see or hear those sounds and things, there's an identity trigger. The thalamus floods all your biochemistry with the same chemistry of fun that it had back when you were a kid, and then you get the response. Now, and Jamie, you're the one that always concerns me, and I really love talking to you. But I would challenge you to do this. I know you a lot of it when I talk, you object to it, but if you would pick up.
I don't object to it. It does not resonate with me.
Okay, well that's fine. But what you might find is that some of these other guys, if you pick up, and even if you've read them before, try them again. And if not read, I find YouTube is actually better because you see their face and hear their voice. Get Eckhart Tolle.
Yes.
Get Bruce Lipton. And get say William Tiller. And another guy that is two guys I highly recommend because I think Amit Goswami, I think he more than anybody will answer all of the. He speaks from a very different way, and I think he'll. If you understand him. A lot of what you think you're getting able to choose or people have choice, they're no more choosing than I'm a vampire that lives upside down in Transylvania. They just don't know. And it doesn't make any difference because the veil is so thick. So when I wrote the book, those kind of behaviors or Zen meditation or good yoga, real yoga, not athletic nonsense, but real yoga. Real good Tai Chi, somebody under some real deep teacher. Those things can pierce that veil.
You know, yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to interrupt because we don't have much time left. And what I really wanted to just get to the audience, we don't have, is that anybody watching our show and everybody understanding this media thing, we've got a big screen in front of us and we've got all these programs coming on. And now we've got a lot of people thinking, well, am I watching the right thing? Or how do I change to what I want? How would you like to tell the audience out there of how they can actually change their way of being conscious of what they're watching? I know we've got a lot of politics out there and we've got fighting here, fighting there and all this crazy stuff, which that's why I say we have choices. I switch it all the time. Unless I really want to find out who's ahead, who isn't, what's going on. How can we help our audience out there to change their way of thinking and how they can actually watch a good program to improve themselves? Because I think everybody wants to improve themselves.
Okay, that's a beautiful question. First thing is, whenever you watch TV, whatever you're enjoying, whenever there's an advertisement part, shut the sound off. You don't have to shut the TV off, but shut the sound off. And don't watch it.
Excellent suggestion. Because actually, they turn the volume up for intentionally.
They do, intentionally.
Yes. So just put it on mute. Good.
Yeah, that's right. And then the other thing is, to Trader on what Jamie is saying, try to pick and choose things that inspire you or that give really good information, and do not don't just take things at face value. Like my friend Jeff Britton would say, use a 30,000-foot elevation and try to look at, like, for instance, if you look at Mrs. Doubtfire, is one of my favorite examples. It is a terrible, horrible programming movie where they make a man out to be the village idiot, and the only way he has credibility is if he acts as a woman. So it's in the guise of a comedy, and always remember, the more famous the actor, everything is automatically trusted and given full credibility. In most times, I don't even think any of the actors have a clue what they're actually presenting. They're just having a good time and they're making their money. But
they've got a job. They have to get a job like everybody else.
I would never take that job. I wouldn't take a job that humiliate. But that's beside the point. The thing trying to say is,
it's interesting. If you look at every single commercial that is targeted to men on a football game, you will see that those commercials perpetuate a male stereotype that men are really stupid. And
Yeah.
men love to watch those commercials. And
Yeah.
as a woman, I watch men watch those commercials, and I feel very badly because
Since they
I
didn't fix the
feel
volume, I can't
that
hear what the
they are-
fuck
But
they're
that's
saying.
true.
I
too.
introduce
Yeah, that's true.
stereotypes.
But that's all done because of money. That's all done strictly
But I'm
because
just
of money.
saying, Men
Which is sad.
identify with that. And so from that standpoint, I think that there's a stereotype that is perpetuated that men are, that they're, you know, shallow and mindless and all they care about is, you know, things.
And you know what else they're doing?
Okay,
James?
so guys, hang on for a second. This is interesting. The show is almost over, and we invited Sensei back so that he can present the 7 areas of things
got
that
to 2 of them.
that we wanted to focus on, and I think he
2.
presented 1 or 2 maybe.
No,
so
I just used, I told you what they were, and then I used sitting.
Yeah. Yeah, but so here we are. It is what it is, and we had some incredible interactions between the cast. I kind of took a seat back because I was actually intrigued and connected to how you guys were interacting and reacting to each other. So that was very useful for me. Hopefully that was useful for the viewers as well, because this is what happens in real life. This show is as real life is. But we are running out of time, as I'm told from
The studio?
the tech center.
I love you, Doctor.
And what we have to do now is we have
It's a
to
different perspective of life.
what we have to do is wrap up the show. And what I would like to say to everybody is that if there's anything that we did on this show today that touched, moved, and inspired you in any way, where you said, aha, I really got something, whatever that is, and you're wondering what to do next, all you have to do is go to Living Consciously
TV.
.tv, that's our website, and you can sign up to become a member of our free membership site and get some support. Yeah, we got to see it. They had issues with this guy.